I present examples from Brockington's article right here. I give you the transliteration of the Greek and my translation, and the transliteration, right, the English character representation of the Hebrew, and my translation.
So this is obviously the paper I was referring to earlier that used to be online more readily and will be again. I'll send it to you by email if you want it, but a new version will be coming soon. Everything in here, though, again, still stands, has not been responded to, as you're seeing right here.
Of the Hebrew. Look at how doxa, the word for glory, used in John 12:41, in association with two quotes from Isaiah, from chapter 6, verse 10, and Isaiah 53:1. I believe it's 53:1. We'll take a look at that. Look at how doxa, the key term Dr. White highlighted for us.
This is, of course, critical, right? Because they never even talk about this. They make a big deal about glory, seeing glory, not even related to a text that's quoted where it says that in Isaiah 6, and they don't even discuss what the meaning of glory is in Isaiah or John to be able to understand what's going on, which is why they don't.
John 12:41, Isaiah said these things because he saw Jesus' glory and spoke about him. And the Septuagint's use of glory in Isaiah 6:1, 10 verses prior to the quotation made in John 12. Look at how doxa is actually used in Isaiah in the Septuagint outside of Isaiah 6:1, which is not quoted in John 12. Isaiah 11:3, Hebrew text, Lo lemare einain yish.
Listen carefully to all these. It's going to blow your mind. If you haven't heard this, it's going to blow your mind.
Vote. Not according to what is seen by his eyes will he judge. What is seen by his eyes. In the Septuagint, what is seen by his eyes is translated by glory. U katatain doxon krine. The Messiah won't judge by what he sees according to his eyes. He doesn't judge according to man's outward glory. It's talking about human beings being judged in a certain way by the Messiah, right? Fairly. Not by what he sees on the outside, but by what you are on the inside. Not by what you are on the outside is translated by glory in the Septuagint. For what is seen on the outward appearance of man, a human. Isaiah 40, verse 6. We'll just read the translation part so you can all stay together here. Hebrew text, all flesh is like grass, and all its glory is like a blossom of the field. Greek translation, all flesh is like grass, and all glory of man is like a flower of grass. Clearly using glory once again for man's outward appearance. Isaiah 52:14, getting very close to the actual quotation one of them made in John 12, immediately preceding verse 41. Isaiah 52:14, Hebrew text. So among men you have an unusual face. It's talking about the Messiah. We're talking about the Messiah here. This text is talking about the glory of the very one being spoken about in John 12.
This is so big, right? This is really where they go completely off the rails in so many ways, right? You need to remember it's not just Isaiah 53, but in the Septuagint and the connections with seeing his glory, appearance as a man, it's in Isaiah 52 as well, okay? Very important verse right here in 52:14. I'm giving you the Hebrew right now, but I'm going to give you the Greek as well. Just pay attention to what's happening here. Tell me this isn't the context that actually has a quoted verse. It's the main verse from John 12, which is about the arm of Yahweh being revealed. That's from Isaiah 53. That's not Isaiah 6 that's being quoted. So he's making this big deal about the arm. That's in Isaiah 53, Fatso. Yeah, so why are you ignoring that you made such a big deal about and pretending like only the glory being seen and what's being said is in Isaiah 6? You and Dr. White did it. So we know this is not an accident. You guys are just not, this is a hard thing for you guys, right? You're not able to deal with the issues. That's clear. You guys keep repeating the same destroy. Sam, it's over. Okay, your argument has been destroyed, okay? So you just keep looking stupid, dude. Like your whole Michael the Archangel and becoming a man. All that is doing is showing how dumb you are. And you're taking away from your reputation as being kind of a smart guy, but we all know. But you're showing us how stupid you are by continuously avoiding these arguments because we know you're running, Sam. You're rolling, but you're running because you're scared and you're fat.
This is Isaiah, everybody, seeing the Messiah's glory and speaking about him. So among men you have an unusual face, because your form and your appearance are as a son of man. Someone like a son of man. This son of man, this appearance, this outward, this unusual face. This is all outward appearance as a human being. Look at the Greek text. Your form and your glory, which came from mankind. His humanity, Dr. White. Your form. He gave up existing in the form of God or a God and took on the form of a man, the nature, Dr. White, Marphe. Inner nature reflected on the outward appearance, your form and glory. Greek text. Adoxese apa anthropon, ta idasu kai he doxasu, apa ton anthropon. Your form and glory, which came from mankind, will be dishonored by mankind. Dishonored, Dr. White. They didn't believe in him. They were dishonoring him in John chapter 12. Your form and your glory, which came from mankind, will be dishonored by mankind. So if they're dishonoring his glory, Dr. White, according to the Septuagint translation of Isaiah 52:14.
Pay attention.
This is immediately preceding what is quoted in John 12 from Isaiah 53.
Boom, right there, and that's why Fatso ran.
So if he's seeing the Messiah's glory right before speaking about the Messiah in Isaiah 53, what don't you understand? What is it you're confused about? The quotation from Isaiah 6:10 that you want to be Isaiah 6:1? I know that. We'll talk about that more in just a second, but that, again, that's part of your problem. You're actually not discussing the text that's quoted.
Right
and
there.
Right here.
That's the key. They're not discussing the key quoted text from Isaiah 53. They're not discussing seeing the glory of the Messiah in Isaiah 52 and 53. They're claiming and lying to everybody that Isaiah 6:1 is what's either quoted or the word seen as glory are quoted. They're not even in the Isaiah 6:1, right? They're just lying. When seeing glory is directly referenced in connection with the Messiah, in the quotation from Isaiah 53 in that very account. It's incredible, right? Can you believe these people?
Which you also don't disclose, we have the very thing you make an issue of with respect to Isaiah 6:1, that Isaiah saw the glory referenced by the Septuagint. Right here, the Septuagint, immediately preceding what Isaiah spoke about the Messiah,
Listen.
quoted in John 12, says the glory they saw would be dishonored by mankind.
Does everyone understand now what glory John is talking about Isaiah seeing and speaking about him? Because there's almost no way, after what I just presented and the rest of what I have to say, you could think it has anything to do with Isaiah 6:1, right? Insanity. The only reason Isaiah 6 is quoted, as I'm going to point out here, is because it explains why they don't believe. It's not where he sees the glory and speaks about him, Fatso. Even though if that is the case there, it's not because of what you think it is. Listen.
Right after they dishonor him, John writes, Isaiah said these things because he saw his glory and spoke about him. Here he is seeing his glory, Dr. White, and guess what? Right after this, he speaks about him. Let's go to it. Let's go to the Bible Hub. Isn't this great, everyone, when we can actually sit down and review this stuff and realize, hey, wait a second, you guys are nuts, right? Or, Dr. White, again, is a little more polished, but he's still, in my opinion, a false teacher, and he's
Sorry, I was going to skip ahead, but it was actually right there, so let's just keep playing.
Isaiah 52:13. Look.
You really need to hear this, though. Okay, pay attention, please, because this is where it's going to culminate, and Sam collapses.
My servant will act with insight. He will be in the high station and certainly be elevated and exalted very much, to the extent that many have stared at him in amazement. So much so was the disfigurement as respects his appearance more than as of any other man, as respects his stately form more than that of the sons of mankind. This is where the Septuagint uses glory, Dr. White. It's describing Isaiah seeing his glory. You know the thing you tried to make us believe about Isaiah 6:1 that's not quoted in John 12, and how you wanted us to believe that Isaiah seeing the glory of Jehovah 10 verses earlier provided a basis for what John wrote in verse 41 of chapter 12 about Isaiah seeing his glory and writing about him. You don't discuss where he wrote about him. You just claim he saw the glory in Isaiah 6:1 that's not quoted in that chapter of John. Yet right here, immediately preceding the quotation from Isaiah 53 and John 12, right before the quotation from John 6:10, it describes Isaiah seeing his glory. Why don't you tell your reader, your listeners, your viewers, your whomever, Trinitarians, why is Dr. White not giving you the information?
Why is Sam not giving you? Well, we know that, right? He's a pervert. But they're all like this, everybody. Unfortunately, the dragon he's got them. It's going to be very hard for them to get out of this now. But Sam has no hope, right? It's over, right? Listen, this is up to the Father, Son. It's over. So, I mean, we have people, though, they've committed themselves to these things in ways where it's hard to step off onto the right side. It's hard to come to the light. They prefer the darkness. But we hope, right? We hope that we try to help them, like right here.
He clearly knows the Septuagint. He's talking all about it. He knows how to search words. He knows Isaiah 53 is quoted right before John 12:41. And he just wants you to think of Isaiah 6:1.
Just like Fat Sam.
That's not quoted there. He doesn't want you thinking of Isaiah 6:10, does he? No, he didn't make a big deal about that. No, there's no connection with that, even though that's what's quoted. He wants you to go to Isaiah 6:1. Forget about Isaiah 53. Who cares about that? Doesn't matter. Oh, actually it does, doesn't it? Because it's doing the exact thing John writes about Isaiah doing in John 12:41, which is not what Dr. White has presented to us. He has not presented a context for one of the quotations, in this case Isaiah 6:10 for him. He has not provided a buildup from verse 1 and shown, hey, look, it's that glory from verse 1.
Hey, let me see if I can skip ahead a little bit, because we got a lot to cover. Let me see here.
Amazed, dishonoring him just like they do when they look upon him and just think, wow, who's this guy?
I'm going to move us up just a little bit more forward to my paper, because we get into just a little bit here. I think this is the right part.
Like a twig before one, and like a root out of a waterless land.
Quoting Isaiah 53, 1 and 2.
Land. No stately form does he have, nor any splendor. When shall we see him? And there is not the appearance so that we should desire him. Dr. White, let's go back to my presentation here.
This is critical. This will be the last part, but this is probably the most important part of my prior video that I want you to remember.
Because again, look, within a couple verses, first we have Isaiah 52 using doxa. 2 verses before Isaiah 53, 1.
And do you guys understand that? They're trying to take us from Isaiah 6:10 about why they don't believe to Isaiah 6:1 that doesn't even say, I saw his glory, those words. When in Isaiah 53:52, right before the quotation of Isaiah 53, it talks about seeing his glory. Okay? So do you guys understand the depth of these people's perversion and lies? How much we've been having to deal with since Gregory of Nyssa? Sam is a total idiot, right? He's just a fatso and a liar. He's a deceiver, okay? He has no conscience. He's going to get punished. And I'm punishing him right now with the facts that he keeps ignoring. Well, he gets up here, blasphemes God, blasphemes me, and he's fat.
Quoted in John 12, where Isaiah sees and describes the doxa of the human Messiah and his dishonored form. He literally sees that, Dr. White, and then writes about him, speaks about him. Look right here, even in the very next verse, after the quotation from verse 1 in Isaiah 53. Look, Hebrew text, and like the root that is from the desert land, no appealing form belonged to him, no glory that we can see, as there is nothing visual that we desire. That's his glory, Dr. White. We literally just read that in Isaiah 52:14. Your form and your glory, which came from mankind, will be dishonored by.
Boom! Seeing the glory right there, fatso. What are you going to do now? Uh-oh. Oh, Sam's bloated again, right? What a fatso. Dude, it's like right in front of you. Are you stupid? We already know it's rhetorical. It's like literally telling you, hey, right here, fatty, lift the folds of your eyes so you can see, because it's telling you right there from Isaiah 53, literally the very, before the very verse quoted in John 12, they see his glory and then speak about him. Fatso, you guys are gone. Sam is a pig bomb. This game is so over, right? It's been over this whole time, and these fatsos keep lying. You know how long ago I wrote this paper? You know how long ago I debated Dr. White? You know how long ago I wrote those books? You know how long ago I did this video? Yeah, well, they've been lying to themselves and everybody else the whole time, all while ignoring my arguments and not understanding the Bible because of how stupid they are.
Mankind. That's his glory right here. Verse 2, right after the quotation from verse 1, in John 12, he does not, the Hebrew, no glory we can see as there is nothing visual. Septuagint translation, he is like a root in a land that is thirsty. He has no appealing form or glory. Doxa, we saw him, and he did not possess an appealing form nor physical beauty. That's what they're talking about, Dr. White. The glory that is from a human, the glory of the man he became after leaving the morphe theou of Philippians 2. It's all talking about him and his glory as a human being, Dr. White.
And it's all describing Isaiah and then seeing his glory and speaking about him, right? It's so unbelievable how stupid these people have become.
Where are you getting Isaiah 6 from? Not any quotation in John 12, I'll tell you that. You're just using the quotation from verse 10 and then totally ignoring the use of doxa in the Septuagint of Isaiah, except for the one verse you want it to be connected to. Isaiah 6:1.
And there you have it. Do you not, everyone? So I would like you to all to remember those points. Now there's more. And I'll link that video. In fact, I'll show you where it is on the site, what the video looks like, and so you can pull it up. But I'll put the link below too. I don't think I have done that yet, but I will. Before we go back to Fatso here, so just remember, right? I mean, those were just highlights from that video, and I crushed them all, right? Sam showed how stupid he is. He didn't address any of that. He lied about John 12 and Isaiah 6, just like Dr. White did. They both fell headlong right into it and ignored Isaiah 53, which is the primary quote that's fulfilled. I go on in that video and I talk about a lot more. In fact, I don't know what time is it. Maybe we should play a little more. Because let's actually do that. I'm telling you, this video is going to blow your mind. Just listen to a little bit more that I go on to say here. It really is that important.
And that is not where Isaiah saw his glory and spoke about him. Right here's where that happened. Isaiah 52, right into Isaiah 53, rolling right over verse 1, quoted in John 12. Why is Isaiah 6:10 quoted as well? We're going to find that out in just a moment. But it's undisputable, is it not? The glory of the Messiah is his human form. It's the glory which came from mankind that would be dishonored. It's this form that doesn't have beauty. He took a slave's form. That's the glory Isaiah saw, Dr. White, and then spoke about him. You have it all wrong. You think it's the glory that he describes in Isaiah 1? because it's a quotation of
Isaiah 6:1.
verse 10 that doesn't even talk about that glory? Isaiah 17:4, another reference. Hebrew, during that time it will be the case that Jacob's glory will be brought low and the fatness of his flesh lean. Septuagint, that day will be an eclipse of the glory of Jacob and the fatness of his glory versus flesh. Again, glory for his physical appearance. Not once referenced by Dr. White. I note here in Isaiah 46, the Septuagint uses flesh as a parallel for man's glory. I go on to discuss different comments made by Brockington in his article. And I point out that only in the Hebrew text of Isaiah 6:3 does the Hebrew text use the word for glory, right? We know the Septuagint adds it, but again, as we can see, the Septuagint uses glory frequently in the context of the Messiah and what Isaiah saw and then wrote about. Here's where I talk about the whole context leading up to Isaiah 6. In fact, since Dr. White, here's where I go and discuss the history. I talked about Philo and his identification of the being in Isaiah 6 as the Father. Talk about references to Isaiah 6 and Clement of Rome. Here's where I refer to Origen. I discuss his citation in against Celsius, and then in his work De Principiis on First Principles. Here's what he says. Here's what Origen writes. My Hebrew master used to say that the two-winged seraphim in Isaiah who cry one to another, say, Holy, 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 is the Lord of hosts, were the only begotten Son of God and the Holy Spirit. And we ourselves think that the expression in the Song of Habakkuk, in the midst of the two living creatures, thou shalt be known, is spoken of Christ and the Holy Spirit. And this is right after he wrote, we believe everything, whatever, except the Father and God of the universe is created. I give the references here to his work, De Principiis, right here. So Origen is telling us basically that his Hebrew teacher identified the seraphim in Isaiah 6 as the Son of God and the Holy Spirit. The very thing that Dr. White kind of, chided a little bit and made light of, right? And of course, Origen here says they identify the Holy Spirit and Christ as two of the living creatures, again, created beings. No Trinity in Origen, everybody. We'll get to that more in the Bible and Trinity and Conflict series. But let's stay with this text. I then go on to talk about Hippolytus.
Just a couple more here, and then we're going to move on, but this is important, so let's finish it up. Very important summary of details you need to know.
And then Methodius. Again, this article will be up online at LihuBooks.com in the next couple of weeks.
Revised version, maybe a little longer than that, but I'm working on a lot of stuff. If you email me, I'll send you the older version that I'm reviewing right here.
A lot of information in here, very important if you don't have this already. But again, a new version with additional material, and the appendix with my post-debate discussion with Dr. White will be added. Here I talk about Gregory of Nyssa, right around the middle 4th century after Nicaea. This is the first time you get this connection that Dr. White is making in his work Eunomius. This is where the first instance I found in the 4th century, middle 4th century, and it all is just like with Dr. White, right? Trinitarianism is used to explain all of it.
Of course, as we all know, by that point, Constantine had come, everything had changed, Dragon Church is happening. A lot of controversy still, but we have a lot of people like Gregory of Nyssa who are full-blown pagans and just fully embracing the Greek paganism and understanding of the Bible, which is not true.
And I go on to discuss the Holy Spirit. Dr. White brings that up. I didn't want to get off onto that in this discussion, though, right? Because we're talking about John 12:41 and the glory that is there described. So let's see here. I think R.E. Brown. Yeah, R.E. Brown even refers to Jesus was identified as one of the seraphs who appeared with Yahweh in later.
Exactly. So as I'm pointing out here and throughout this article and the references I've given, even if we connected the glory of that's spoken of in John 12 with Isaiah 6, again, Jesus is the outshining of God's glory. No one has seen God at any time, so it would have to be his glory if there's seen in a vision. It's just not referring to Isaiah 6, right? It's not a problem for us. It's not Trinitarian no matter what. It has nothing to do with the Trinity on any level. They're just reading that into it. That's it. If it refers to Isaiah 6, it's talking about seeing the glory of Jesus as he was the angel of Yahweh, appearing since no one can see God at any time. And then, or one of the seraphs, like you're seeing right here in some of the early patristic writings, or in the glory of the latter part of Isaiah 6 that I mentioned here in a moment, that has to do with the Messiah. But that's not from verse 1 and the glory being seen there. It's the glory of the human Messiah that's described further in Isaiah 52:53, but that also you can see at the end of Isaiah 6, after the quotation in verse 10, but which is not quoted in verse John 12, the part after verse 10. It's the Isaiah 53 part that's quoted relative to the glory that's seen, not the latter part of Isaiah 6 after verse 10. They got it all wrong. It's over, right?
Patristic interpretation, right? So even R.E. Brown, well-known Trinitarian scholar, Anchor Bible, presented this view of Jesus as one of the seraphim being related to the early fathers. And Dr. White didn't seem to be either aware of it or even totally dismissive of it, right?
Just like Sam, of course, they have no concept.
So, and then I talk about other works, apocryphal works like the Ascension of Isaiah, very important stuff here, but I'm going to kind of skip through it so we can stay up more on the specific issues related to Isaiah 53, surrounding text, Isaiah 52:14, right before the quotation, Isaiah 53:1, right? How Dr. White has to go all the way to verse 1 when the quotation is in verse 10 of Isaiah 6, which we're going to get to next. But I want to get us up to this point here real quickly, where we're going to be looking at the context, right? We need to look at this context leading up to...
This is where I'm going to get into the actual nuts and bolts of John 12. It won't take long, but we're almost done. Let's finish it up.
John 12:41, right? Because Dr. White did what? He just wanted to start in verse 38, right? He kind of kept the option open, but 38 to 41 is all he read. And I'm going to show you why I think he did that. But before we do, let's go ahead and read Isaiah 6, 1 through 10, leading up to the quotation, right? So we've read now, right? We've read the context leading up to the quotation from Isaiah 53:1, right before John 12:41. It's not immediately before, right? Because right before that, John quotes Isaiah 6:10. But let's go to that actually real quick. Because in John 6:10, or I'm sorry, John 12, I'll bring up the Bible Hub. There's something very important.
This is important. Again, please listen. I'm playing this for a reason, because this is exactly what I would say to anybody, and it hasn't been responded to yet. But listen.
Let's just take a look at why how we heard Dr. White read the text at the beginning, right? He started right here. Let's just do that again real quickly. So John 12:38. This was to fulfill the word of Isaiah the prophet. Lord, who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm been revealed? This is the quotation from Isaiah 53:1 we just read, where in the immediately preceding context, 2 verses before, Isaiah sees and describes the glory, the outward human glory the glory from mankind that is dishonored by mankind. And then immediately after in verse 2, he again describes. That's the glory Isaiah saw and spoke about him right here.
I mean, it's so obvious, right? They have to go, they go through all this effort just to ignore the obvious, right? And Sam even brought this up, the arm of Yaol, and then he totally ignores the source of that and runs to Isaiah 6 like a fatso.
It says this quotation from Isaiah 53:1 fulfills the word of Isaiah the prophet.
Right there, right? There's your fulfillment. The quote from Isaiah 53, fatso. This is why you ignoring and running past the part where it says why he's quoting Isaiah 6:10 is so important. Because you and Dr. White take Isaiah 6:10 as the fulfillment of what's being said here in John 12. When it explicitly says it's Isaiah 53, fatty, and it explicitly says why Isaiah 6:10 is quoted. You totally blow it, confound it and confuse it, and you're fat.